What's up? This is Release Rotation. I'm your host, John W. Snyder. Today was a big day for the NBA in the offseason. The NBA schedules were released for all the teams today. There's a lot to look at, a lot to chew on, a lot to think about, a lot to break down. Obviously, if you've been listening to this or know me, you know I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. So I'm going to start with their schedule really quick. It's so weird, obviously. It won't sink in really until the season starts or until we're like 20 games into the season and Oklahoma City's 4-16. Then it might sink in. Or 6-14. Sounds better. 20 games in, 6-14. Maybe they'll surprise us. 10-20? I don't know. But this season coming up, Oklahoma City only has 12 nationally broadcasted games. 12. Where I don't know how many exactly the season before, but it was probably more than double that. Probably 30 to 35 would be my guess. Maybe more, counting playoffs. I don't know. But this upcoming season, they're only going to have 12 games nationally broadcasted. So luckily I can watch Fox Sports Oklahoma out here in California. And so I'll get to watch their games regardless, but nationally televised, 12. 9 of them are on NBA TV. I don't have that. 2 of them are on ESPN. And that's against the Nuggets and against the Bucks. And then one of those games is on TNT, and that's against the Rockets. So Oklahoma City is not getting a lot of airtime this year nationally. So really interesting. So we'll see how that plays out. But just not a lot of games for the Thunder, who are, usually used to those. And I saw a tweet, from the Sacramento Kings. They said they only have one nationally broadcasted game. I mean, to be fair, it's on ESPN, the one they were talking about. But the Kings have, like 7 more games on NBA TV. But it's going to be weird for the Thunder for sure. The one that shocked me was the Pelicans. They have 30 nationally televised games this year. And so that's a lot. And I'm not exactly sure how many are on, on NBA TV or whatever. But just real quick looking, I mean, they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 of those 30 games are on either ABC, ESPN, TNT, whereas the other 10 are on NBA TV. I thought that was pretty surprising that the Pelicans are going to get that much love, I guess because of Zion. I mean, if he can stay healthy. Seems like his knee, took him out of Summer League, which is probably a good thing that they gave him a break. Don't want to hurt him, but that's crazy. Opening night is going to have the Pelicans at the Raptors, when the Raptors are going to get their banner dropped, I guess, there in Toronto. Kind of a funny one. Pelicans, Raptors. Okay, whatever. And then Lakers at Clippers, which is going to be the fun one. That's going to be the fun game. And so both those games are going to be on TNT, which I prefer watching games on TNT over ESPN. I just think they do a better job all around. And then obviously with the post-game and pre-game and halftime, you get Kenny, Shaq, and Charles Barkley on TNT. So by far the most fun place to watch games. So that's opening night. It's going to be fun. The Christmas games, Celtics at Raptors, Bucks at 76ers, Rockets at Warriors, Clippers at Lakers, and Pelicans at Nuggets. I mean, just looking at that, Rockets at Warriors. I mean, I feel like the Rockets are going to win that game pretty easily. The only other game that's really appealing is Clippers at Lakers. I guess the Bucks at 76ers. But Celtics at Raptors, who cares? It might be in a decent game, but whatever. So that's really interesting. Christmas Day schedule. Yeah, I guess those are the two best games. Well, I guess there's 5 games. The 3 best are going to be Bucks at 76ers, Rockets at Warriors, and Clippers at Lakers, I think. Will be the most fun to watch. And as an Oklahoma City fan, obviously with the trades and everything, Oklahoma City will play at Houston on October 28th. So if Chris Paul is actually in a Thunder uniform, then he'll be going back to Houston to play against Russell Westbrook and James Harden and the Rockets, which is going to be super weird. December 22nd, the LA Clippers travel to Oklahoma City. So Paul George comes back to Oklahoma City, and I hope he gets booed the whole game. Wanting that trade out of Oklahoma City. What a joke. I'm not bitter. No, I really am. So I hope he gets booed that whole game. And then January 9th, the Rockets at OKC should be a good one because Russell Westbrook comes back to Oklahoma City and he will not get booed. They will cheer for him. So it's going to be an interesting season for the Thunder. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's not going to be pretty. And another game that's intriguing because of possible comebacks is Thursday, March 12th. This is one I haven't really seen talked about much, which it probably has been, but the Brooklyn Nets travel to Golden State on March 12th. I just wonder if KD will be healthy enough to play then. He got hurt in June, right? End of May, June. So that's like 10 months out, 9 months. Could be back. Not sure though. I mean, that's usually the timeline. With an Achilles, you don't know. Could be a year. Could miss the whole season. But with a game that late, March 12th, it would be fun if Kevin Durant is back playing and gets to go to Golden State and play against the Warriors. Him and Kyrie and the Nets taking on Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson should be back too by then after his ACL tear. So that's just a quick breakdown of the schedule that I wanted to share. That's really the only NBA news going on right now. There's not a lot happening. So it'll be fun season. I think it'll be a great season for the West. The only other news, I'm trying to think, there wasn't much that happened. So that's all I have. That's the schedules. There's a lot more to break down and look at. I might do a little bit more next week, but that was just the quick hits this week for Oklahoma City, and then just some other intriguing games. And so, man, it's crazy seeing Oklahoma City only having 12 games nationally broadcasted, and with only 2 of those on ESPN and 1 on TNT. I don't get NBA TV, so I'm going to say 3 nationally televised games. ESPN, 2 of those games, and then 1 on TNT. Ridiculous. So there you have it. That's my quick NBA hit. This week, I'm excited. Football is about to start. I mean, we're getting closer and closer. College starts in a little over 2 weeks, I guess. So I am super ready for that. NFL preseason started. It's okay to watch the first 5-10 minutes, first drive or 2, then the starters come out. But that's where we're at. Football season is just around the corner, which then means NBA is around the corner, and college basketball, and professional hockey. We do have, obviously, baseball playoffs coming up. September, October, really October, I guess. Maybe then it's September, but mostly October is for playoff baseball. So I don't mind playoff baseball, but regular season baseball is boring. I talked about that in my last podcast. Still stand by that. Games are too long. It's just weird. Maybe when I get older, I'll enjoy it. Who knows? But that's all I got for sports. We'll be back after this break. All right, we're back from that quick break. This is kind of just off the top of my head, but something I wanted to talk about, a story I wanted to tell about timing. But before I get to that, everyone has a story. Everyone has a backstory or an origin story. I guess if we're talking about superheroes, what's the origin story? Which sometimes can be interesting, where people come from or just the stories they have. And I got to thinking about this podcast right now and just how it's just me. And, some of you know me, some of you don't. But I do want to get better at storytelling and telling things in a humorous and also in a way that you can learn things from, I guess. I don't know, maybe. I feel like we can always learn something from stories that happened to us in the past. Good, bad, whatever they were. But what got me thinking about this story was just some other things that happened this week with timing and just things going on in our lives and, just the timing, the way people say things or do things. The timing may or may not be right. And this week some things came down. That sounds bad, but just some things happened this week and the timing was really bad for different reasons. But it got me to thinking of a story of when I was in college. I don't even know. I was probably I was in college for 5.5 years, so it was like my third or fourth year, I guess. Probably my fourth year. And I had been dating this girl for not even 2 months. Maybe just over a month we were dating. And for my birthday, she got us tickets to see the Dallas Mavericks play. I can't remember who they played. I feel like it was Orlando. The Orlando Magic. But it was for my birthday. They were like half-court seats, but, they were up a little higher. It's not like they were front row mid-court seats, but they were half-court seats. Great seats, whatever. We'd been dating for a month or two. We drive down to Dallas just to go to this game. Whatever. Good times. And this was from Stillwater, so I think it's like a 3-hour drive from what I remember from Stillwater, Oklahoma, which is like 45 minutes, an hour, or actually about an hour north of Oklahoma City. So it's probably like a 3.5 hour drive from Dallas to Stillwater, Oklahoma. Go down, whatever, go to dinner, go to the game, thinking we're having a great time. Start heading back after the game, back to Stillwater. And again, like I said, we've been dating like maybe a month, a little over. Heading back to Stillwater, and we're literally 2 hours from Stillwater. We're not even close. And, we're listening to music or whatever. And the girl that I'd been dating, that I was with in the car, with 2 hours to go on our trip, decides to tell me, you know what, this just isn't working out. So great. At the time, it wasn't that funny. The fact that we'd only dated a month, I thought it was hilarious, like the next day. Like no big deal, but the fact that we still had 2 hours left in the car together, and she decides to tell me that it's not working out, the timing was really bad. So you can imagine what those next 2 hours were like. I don't think either of us talked at all. I was bummed. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. It happens. But we pull up to my house in Stillwater, get out, whatever. We say our goodbyes. And one of my roommates, I can't remember which roommate it was at the time, is outside. I think they were outside doing something, either grilling or throwing the football or something stupid that we always did. And says, "Whoa, what's wrong? Someone die?" And at the time, it was pretty funny, I thought. But man, that timing, was really bad. And those 2 hours in that car ride were probably the quietest 2 hours I'd ever experienced other than being asleep. Never had anything like that happen to me. I'm not sure if any of you have. But man, I was telling people at work this story like a couple weeks ago, and I had forgotten about it because it was 18 years ago or whatever. But I started telling somebody about it, and everyone started laughing, like they thought it was hilarious. So, I wanted to figure out a way I could share that story with you here on my podcast. But now I look back, obviously, and it's hilarious. So funny. But man, those were the quietest 2 hours. But timing is so important. Timing is important if you're giving bad news to somebody, maybe even if you're giving good news to somebody. If you've got to give feedback to somebody, that's not the best feedback you have to give. If you have to deliver bad news, tell someone they're not doing their job right, tell someone they messed up on a story that they were writing, or something like that. And so I think there's ways to approach things in whatever job you do, whatever capacity it is, whoever you're talking to. There's just ways to approach things that can come across a lot easier and better than they should. Just meaning, like, you don't know what people are going through. You don't know what's going on in their lives necessarily, and just delivering bad news, or like I said, something with work that didn't go right, or something like that. Like, there's got to be ways to do it. And just from my experience in working with customer service for the last 9 years, and then just with fellow employees and stuff, like, you just need to ask people, like, hey, is this a good time for us to talk about this? Because there might be something going on in someone's life that you're not aware of, and it's not a good time to talk about that thing. And so that's really what this little last bit was about, was just being wise and sympathetic to that person you need to talk to. Like, make sure it's a good time to talk to them. Especially if you're delivering bad news, like, check with them, like, hey, can we talk about this? Or can we talk about what happened? Or got some things to talk about. Is this a good time? And, in that moment, it might not be. They might need to say, you know what, I need a few days. Or can we talk about it tomorrow? Today's not a good day. I've got things going on. And so if you're in leadership, management, or just a regular job that's not leadership or management, you're a salesperson or whatever it might be, and you've got to deliver that bad news to somebody, just make sure that you ask that permission to give them that news, because like I said, they might be going through something that you're not aware of, and maybe you are aware of it, and you still need to ask that, because maybe they are okay talking about it. Maybe it'll get their mind off of whatever's happening or going on, or maybe they'll tell you, like I said, can we talk about it tomorrow or later today? But just if you are over people, if you lead people, manage people, and you've got to deliver that bad news, whatever it might be, that feedback, just ask for permission. It's all I'm asking. It's all this is about, because timing, just like in my story, timing is very important. Because if the timing's wrong, It could be a bad experience for all parties involved. It could be awkward. It could be silent. So that's all I have this week. I really appreciate you listening to my podcast, whoever you are, wherever you are. Stay safe, and I'll be back. And again, next week, again, I'm going to start releasing podcasts every Tuesday. So there is going to be a timeline for these. And so every Tuesday morning, there will be a new episode for you that you can put in your ears if you want. You don't have to, obviously. There's something like 800,000 podcasts out there. I don't know how many actually, that's how many are registered. Who knows how many are actually regularly recording and posting things. That'd be a different number to see. But thanks again, and we'll talk next week.